you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they want to do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shit.
How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi. Welcome to another episode of Tier Talk. Guys, great discussion coming our way today. We're going to talk about having a growth mindset in corrections. We're going to kind of discuss it from two perspectives. The front line, you know, those that we're looking to cultivate and grow, but also from management, you know, what we need to do to make sure we maintain that growth mindset. And it kind of touches on transformational leadership. Are we doing enough to empower our employees to make them want to take that next step? And the reason why we're having this discussion is because I got a good message sent my way where there was an officer that was motivated to become a supervisor. And now in the process, as a person's thinking about taking that next step, there have been a lot of people saying to this person, yeah, you're going to make a great supervisor. Yeah, you're going to make a great supervisor. And now the person has sent me a message saying, Gangi, the more they keep telling me I'm going to be a great supervisor, the more I don't want the position now, the more I feel the pressure. So I thought me and Connie could explore why that is, because most people may see the opposite of that. The more people want me to become it, I want to become it. But in this case here, we get an email and now the person's going in the opposite direction. So I think it's going to be a great dialogue, something worthy of exploring, and hopefully something that provides value to the person that sent me this question or concern. Connie, how's the book going? Cage Was Her Cocoon, my favorite author in the world. How are you?
The book is going good. It continues to sell, so I take that as the blessing. I am absolutely humbled by the fact that people are still buying the book and leaving reviews and sending me emails and reaching out to me on the website. So it's great. So in addition to the book, though, I do have the Civilian Corrections Academy, which is really doing its own thing these days. So I'm excited about that and excited to see where that goes because, you know, it's been a long time coming. I think it's one of those things that you kind of put something out there and you're like, you know, it's taking its time. But now I think really starting to see it take off has been really just good to see.
You know, we had a discussion recently and you said you had an open basement. You ever thought about having a Tier Talk studio down there? I've been thinking.
Yeah, we could do a Tier Talk studio. Right now, we've been talking about so Kendall wants a game room. So, you know, there's more than enough space to figure that out, though. We could do something.
Eventually, guys, you know, we're in the market for a house anyway. So hopefully we're going to try to invest in get that studio that sits at least 2 or 3 people. But I actually saw a blown up studio, which is pretty cool. It's like a blown up green screen type thing, $500. Before I even show it to my wife, she already said no. So, yeah. So, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is. I'm married. It happens. But guys, we have a great dialogue coming away. Don't forget the books on the market. As Connie said, I also have mine, Inmate Manipulation. Links in the description. Hey, guys, if you get a chance, Connie mentioned the reviews. That's great. I have about 28 or 29 reviews on mine. Yeah, keep those reviews coming on Amazon because that helps us with the promotion of the book. And guys, always thank you for supporting what we do here on Tier Talk. Now, guys, we're going to go to our sponsor. And when we come back, we're going to discuss having that proper mindset in corrections. And I did not forget to say, guys, don't forget to ring that bell and all that other stuff. But for some reason, I can't remember my script at this point. All I know is you got to hit a bell. My mind's going blank. It's just good times. It's Monday. Okay, guys, stand by for our sponsor. We'll be back. Let's talk about the growth mindset in corrections. Stand by.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it. It's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
All right, then we're back. Okay, guys, so I gave you the concern at the very beginning. So you have this gentleman who is being pushed into the supervisory role, wanted to take it at first. And then all of a sudden, when all these managers are coming up and all these supervisors are coming up and saying, hey, you know, you're going to make a good supervisor, you're going to make a good supervisor, this person starts to feel the pressure and now decide maybe it's not for them. So I want to kind of start off by saying I've been doing some reading on growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So growth mindset is a mindset that continues to grow, and fixed mindset is basically a mindset that, you know, has like a specific maybe label or a specific ability, and it puts a lot of pressure on individuals. So I can understand the perspective of where this person may all of a sudden lose motivation, because think about this, guys. You know, you're you know, in this profession, you're doing well, you get that motivation to kind of move up to become that supervisor, and then all of a sudden people put these expectations on you that all of a sudden you may be thinking, wow, you know, can I live up to that expectation? So the people that are trying to, you know, help you, you know, give you the motivation may not realizing that they're putting this pressure that's making you now start to doubt your ability to do that position. Now, does that make sense to you, Connie?
Absolutely. I mean, so I think that, you know, people can't underestimate how powerful the mind is, right? You know, which is why we talk about it being really important that you not have that sort of negative self-talk where you talk yourself into or out of things, you know, because the mind is that powerful. You know, it gives you either the inner belief that I can do anything, I could achieve anything, I can make this thing happen, or it could say, you know what, I'm a failure. And like it ingrains those thoughts. So like when we start thinking about our mindset and where we are, especially as it relates to our career and our ability to move up, you know, the mindset will matter, because there are a lot of pressures in moving up in our jobs, especially in a place where we know it's highly scrutinized. You know, there's a lot of politics, like there's a lot to learn. And as you start moving up, especially in our industry, you know, knowing that like, okay, I might do something wrong, but that's only going to help me grow to be a better manager, to be a better leader. Not like, okay, I messed up, and so now this is my limit, right? I can't go any further because I messed up. This is a failure, and like I can't go any further. So the mindset being one of growth really does open you up to almost every opportunity, because it's like, yeah, you might be a little intimidated by something, about the process, but ultimately, you know, whether you succeed or you fail at that thing, there's a lesson to be learned that's only going to help you to be better the next time.
Yeah, I think what's going on here, in my opinion, hopefully this can hit home with the gentleman that sent me the concern, is that I believe that he may have had the growth mindset, like I'm going to get into the supervisory position and I'm going to go ahead and make a difference. I'm going to learn what I can. But I think what happened is that when people start putting the pressure, you're going to make a good supervisor, coming from his peers and also from the management, now I feel that he's thinking that they're expecting him to go right into that position and have all the answers. And now this is where it becomes a bit challenging. I noticed that for those that have a fixed mindset, for those that strictly are fixed on this, what they believe to be this innate ability, sometimes when they get challenged, they may tend to walk away from that challenge because they feel that, what if I'm not who I think I am? What if I'm not who they think I am? Because there's that set of judgment. You know, there's this set that we expect you to be this, and now the pressure is you to come out and be this. Instead of you deciding who you need to be in that position, there's the pressure of people already trying to, or what you feel may be, people already trying to cultivate you into their likeness before you're able to take the position and determine who it is that you need to be when you grab a hold of that position. Does that make any sense, Connie?
It does. I guess as I think about it, so yes, I think sometimes the pressure may make you feel as though someone is kind of pushing you into a particular direction. But sometimes it may just be the pressure that you're putting on yourself to succeed, right? It's like, okay, so now you know that people have expectations of you. And so there's a different level of accountability when your peers or, you know, are looking at you and they're looking up to you, right? It's like sometimes people shy away from that responsibility when they understand it. So like, I think honestly, the fact that people are looking at him and thinking that he could do this, he's going to be great. The shying away is almost, he understands how important it is for him to be successful. So I think like that's just a good gut check or barometer to know that, listen, yes, this might be a little frightening, it might be a little challenging, but you got people who think that you're going to do really well at this. And the reality is that sometimes people see things in us that we don't see in ourselves. And even if it's something that you're thinking, yes, I might try it, there's probably people who felt like you were already good for that role long time ago, right? So a lot of times we underestimate what we bring to the table. And sometimes it may just be a matter of confidence, whatever that thing is. You know, I think it's always good to know that once you step into that world, like any feedback you get is because people want you to be better. People know that you can do this thing. They see you as a great supervisor already. And so they're only looking to give you sort of that constructive criticism to kind of help you like be better, because they know that you can. So like, even though like I get it, you know, because it can be it could be intimidating. It can.
Yeah, I think the concern also here is that you figure if you get the position that you owe them something. You know, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, here's people coming in saying, hey, you got this, you got this, you got this. And then all of a sudden you may get into that position like, well, these are the people that helped me. Well, the people that are good to you are also going to let you form your own identity. You know, yes, they're going to support you when, you know, you need that support. But for the most part, they're going to let you form your own identity and become that person you need to be. But I think the concern here with this, I love what you're saying, Connie. I think the concern with this gentleman is the fact that, you know, he may have wanted it, saw that it was possible, right? And then was kind of willing to step into the role and make it a learning process. But now it shifted the moment he felt that there was pressure coming from people, where I think he's taken their push as expectation. Mm-hmm. Like, we're pushing you forward, but he's taking it as, well, you want me to be this person. And I may not see it that way. I mean, the only way you can really figure it out is once you get the position and you see how they are with you. But for the most part, I have told people in my career, hey, you'd make a great supervisor. But again, you make a great supervisor through trial and error, just like I did. That's where the growth mindset comes in. So if you're going in with that thought that you have to be perfect, well, that's not going to happen. You know, you're going to fail. You're going to learn, and that's part of the growth mindset. And the people that are actually pushing you into that direction, I don't think it's so much an expectation of what you need to be. It's more supporting, you know, your chance to be who you need to be. You know, if that makes any sense, like, you're making the decision who you need to be. It's when we look, like, I'll give you an example. I had people telling me the same thing, that they wanted me to be a supervisor pretty much early in my career. I don't know if they said that because they just didn't want me working next to them, you know, because I could have been a bit annoying. But there were some people that saw it right from the get-go. One of my instructors said, one day you're going to be admin. And I think they saw it because at the very beginning, they noticed my questions, my curiosity, my want to learn more. Like, I was always the person that you hated in class because I raised my hand when there was like 5 minutes left, and I kept on raising my hand until, you know, people were like, hey, Gange, you know, we want to leave. And then it got to the point where the instructor's like, hey, Gange, we want to leave. So, you know, I think part of the curiousness is what people saw and said, well, you know what, this person's want to learn could be something that obviously we could see at a higher level. So I think in the same thing here with this gentleman, maybe you have a curiosity. I mean, the fact that you watch this channel says you probably have a curiosity about the profession. You probably want to have an impact, have some value. And therefore, the people that are supporting you are probably only pushing you into that direction because they want you to take what you have now already and bring it up to the top, regardless if there's trial and error. Because I'm going to tell you something, guys, it takes a lot to adjust to the role. I don't care how you are as a frontline person. Once you jump into that position, there's a lot to adjust to. But having said that, the foundation is going to be, how do I adjust to the role? Not how does the role change me, but how do I adjust to the role? So I think the people that are pushing on him are pushing him because they know that he has something here at this ground level that they don't want to change, but they think through time can be cultivated, as opposed to when you get there, this is what we expect. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Connie?
Yeah, I mean, so as I'm thinking about it, like, so there's always something that you see in somebody where you're like, that person would be a good manager. They would be good at something, right? And so I think that him being in this space where he's considering that something, I don't know if someone told him that already or if he was just considering it. And as he spoke to other people kind of encouraged him. But like, if you are in that mindset of growth and you're looking to move up, it's that understanding that your intelligence is going to develop, right? So like, as you get into different roles, you're going to continue to develop and learn the role, and you're going to evolve as a person based on the things that you learn. I think the defining factor, though, is how much effort you put into that. How much effort are you going to put into the learning? How much, it's almost like the mastery, right? Like, you may be the apprentice, but like now as you're learning and developing and you're studying what you need to be in order to be effective in that role, you are going to be evolving as a person. And like, I feel like as you start evolving and you start seeing all these new capabilities that you've developed, like, I think that in of itself begins to serve as motivation for you to do more, for you to want to be more, for you to see the possibilities that are out there, so like, I think that he's going to be fine. I think it's just initially a little intimidating. And, I guess at this stage in anybody's career, like, who cares what somebody else is expecting you to be, right? Like, I'm not saying like the most important part of it is you being like, you feeling comfortable with the person you're evolving into. It's not so much the expectations that others have. Now, I think, yes, if you're hired to do a particular job and the description has expectations, like, absolutely, those are the expectations you want to make sure you meet. But you certainly at this point in our careers aren't really worried about some random person's expectations or what they think ultimately you're going to owe them, because when you went for that interview, that person wasn't the reason why you got hired. The person who hired you or gave you the appointment was the person who felt that you would be great in the role. And I think we just got to be confident in knowing that.
And I love the mindset he has right now, because even as he's moved up, or he's trying to make the effort to move up, he's thinking of who he needs to be in relationship to them. And I think they're thinking like the opposite. They're thinking like who you need to be in relationship to yourself, because that's what we want. Now, how do you take who you are to that next level? And I love what you're saying, Connie, because believe it or not, the growth mindset, the struggling is the reward. If you love what you do and this is an opportunity for growth, and this is a career and you want to grow, then you're going to have to go through some struggles. But the struggle is the reward. As hard as it may believe, because it's hard to believe that at that time when you're going through it. But at the end, you'll be shocked, like, how did I learn all these things? And people say, well, you learned it through experience. No, evaluated experience. It's experience that I went back inside to kind of evaluate, to kind of see, like, what I could have done better or what I've done wrong. And obviously embrace the failures. I'm reading a book right now by John Maxwell. Sometimes we lose, sometimes we learn. And I believe you said that could have came from Nelson Mandela, but I love the title of that book. That's what attracted me to that book, was that's a motivator. It's not about a loss, because it only becomes a loss if you don't take the effort to kind of learn what it was that, you did wrong, or the mistake that you made. Also, on the other side, on the flip side, I really never thought of it this way, because we've done a lot of shows together and we always talk about support. I mean, that's key. We're a family. We want to support growth. This is not a competition. It's someone gets promoted, I would like to think it's a win, as long as we remember where we came from. But I never thought of us going to that one person and, going up there and saying, yeah, you're going to make a great this, or you're going to make a great that, or just kind of focused on their ability, to say, yeah, you're the best at this, how that can make them lose confidence. And how I related to what this guy was saying, I was thinking about my time doing gangs. When I did gangs, a lot of people will come up to me and just say, you're the best at it. You're the best at it. You're the best at it. And you know what the funny thing is? The more they said it, I actually started losing confidence, because I didn't want to find out that I wasn't. Like I was afraid to take challenges because what if I wasn't that person? I was afraid to share knowledge because I didn't want someone to be better than me, you know? So I can understand how when people go to compliment you and they say you're the best and they're focused on that fixed ability, whatever it is, how that can actually make someone lose confidence and for someone to really focus on keeping that title instead of growth. Like I want to be the best, but I'm not going to take any challenges because I'm afraid I'm going to be called out, as opposed to someone who like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I don't have to be the smartest person in the room as long as I'm able to learn. So, I mean, have you ever saw it that way? I mean, here we are telling people they're the best, but can it make someone lose a level of confidence?
So I think so. So one of the things that, so in going through this process of writing the book, right? One of the things that we talked about was this imposter syndrome, right? So this is what others think about me. Here's what I know, and here's what others think I know. And like when the three of those come together, and somehow you think that the assumptions of what others think I know isn't really what you know, you start thinking like I'm an imposter. Like people like, why would they trust me? Why would they see me as the expert? And so there are things that we learn to do in order to either cope with not feeling that way. So like we might just avoid the situation altogether. You know what? I'm not writing that book because I'm not the expert. I don't want to be found out that I'm not the expert, right? Or you say, you know what? I'm gonna write the book. Let's see where it goes, right? Let's see if in fact I am the expert, right? And so I think that as we step into this role as a manager, admin, whoever you are in your role, it's like the moment you get challenged, you start doubting, do I really know my stuff, right? Like, do I know my stuff enough to like have an intelligent conversation, to defend it if I have to, right? And then suppose someone challenges me and I'm found out. So we don't know everything. And that's okay. And I think that has to be where we're at. Like I'm an expert in what I think I know as an expert, right? And it's great if someone has presented me with new information that will either challenge what I think I know or give me more information for me to truly be the expert. And I feel like we can't prevent ourselves from growing because we may not know every single detail about this particular subject matter. And we can't let ourselves feel like we're not smart enough because someone else knows a little bit more or another piece of a detail that we may not be aware of. So I think that's kind of what happens sometimes where like, it's like, so if the right person gets in your ear, you could be like, you know what, that's not for me, right? That doesn't mean you're not the expert. That doesn't mean you don't know way more than everybody else knows about that subject matter. It happens to be, and it's a real thing, it's called Impostor Syndrome. It happens all the time. And people shrink away or shrink themselves because there's that 0.5% of something that they didn't know. So all of a sudden it negates everything that they do know. And so what we have to do is just continue to build our confidence in the stuff we know and take the new information and synthesize it.
You know, you're making such great point with the imposter syndrome. I'm saying imposter. Sorry, imposter. The imposter syndrome. Again, for this gentleman first, before I get into something personal with me, for this gentleman first, you know, consider becoming that next step as not an end game. It's a growing game. So obviously, if you're growing, look at that as being constructive, and it's okay to make mistakes. And again, I think if you look at it as you have to know everything when you go in that position, and no one's ever going to take the position. I would never take the position. Yeah. I took the next position knowing I'm going to have to grow. And I will tell you something, guys, there could be a level of, yes, starting over, and that's fine. You know, that's part of what a growth mindset has. You're not afraid to start over. You're not afraid to learn something new. But when it comes to the imposter syndrome, you know what's funny? I get invited to speak at a lot of events, and I have a habit of wanting to bring other people along to balance it. You know, because sometimes I start to wonder, like, why do you want me? Like, you know, why do you want me to teach about inmate manipulation? Well, Gangi, you wrote a book on it. Yeah, but why? I know, just because we're all victim to it, Connie. We're all victim to it. You know, we're all victim to it. But
we are.
Like, so yeah, so I just, So sometimes people are like, well, Gangi, and it doesn't help when they say, it's like, so why do you want me? Well, Gangi, you have 15,000 followers, almost 16,000 followers on YouTube. Yeah, but that doesn't solidify why you want me. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, I have a great, support of but but what funny thing is that you start to think, well, you know what? I do have some knowledge. I do have some.
Even that's underestimating, right? That is understating, right? I want to make sure we're clear on that. So you have almost 2 decades of correctional experience. You started from the bottom and you worked your way up. There are aspects of the facility of everything that you've learned firsthand. You didn't read it in a book. You didn't have someone else tell it to you. Like, you did that. And so the imposter syndrome allows us to do what you're doing right now, which is not to take full credit for all of the work, the effort, everything, all the challenges, even like you're still being challenged now, all the transgender stuff that's going on, all the Priya stuff that's going on. But like, who could write a book and tell you how to manage all of that stuff? Nobody, right? And so when they're asking you to come, it's because these are all of the things that this man has under his belt, right? And they don't even know all of that, right? But how many topics have we talked about on the fly? Probably most of them, right? And so the mere fact that you would still have imposter syndrome after all of that just shows that even someone who's just starting, it's likely that they could have this imposter syndrome sneak up on them and make them doubt that they're ready. And like, you've got to know you've learned so far, you're going to continue learning, and the imposter syndrome, we have to be able to push it aside and just move forward with confidence and know that we are going to make some mistakes, but we're going to learn from those mistakes and we'll never make them again.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, Connie, because you're right. That was the moral, is that, I've been in this profession 18 years, but then here's how I got around it. And maybe this could be good advice for the person that may want to become a supervisor. I'm not looking to be the best person in the room anymore. I went through that phase. I did. We all did. You know what I mean? You're trying to brand yourself. But it's not about being the best person in the room. It's really about what you can learn and keep on learning. I've done almost 900 videos at this point. Talked to so many different experts. I mean, the stuff I've learned passively that, I don't even realize until someone asks the right question. But when I started to go through that imposter stuff, yeah, I did. Even when you go through these achievements, yes, the channel, the book, whatever it is, you're always going to see that maybe there's that one troll that tries to call you out. And at the end, you're right. And at the end, maybe it gets to you at first because you know what? We're all victim to, critique, if you want to take. But once, like you said, Connie, at the very beginning, once you start finding that foundation in yourself and it is really about growth and becoming better, even that critique can motivate me.
Yeah.
If I don't know enough, then tell me where I need to learn more. I mean, there's ways to spin it. So for the person here who doesn't think that at this point that maybe they're not enough for this person that thinks that they're not enough because of the pressure that they're now facing, that's okay. Because at the end, you still have a lot to learn and keep on learning. So you're not expected to be the end all when you get into that supervisory position. And it's great that we got a little personal here because I think it matters. I love the fact that we were able to connect by sharing something that even people that you may think have confidence, may not always have confidence. But I do know that if you shift your perspective, and welcome the fact that I'm here to learn, then you could sit back and learn, and it's not a competition. And I think that's ultimately the environment we need to have, be honest with you, in a working environment.
Yeah. But I think it's once you decide that you come to terms with the fact that I'm going to learn, like all that other stuff kind of falls to the wayside. And I can only speak out of the experience of when I came from Rikers, I had 10 years of experience already. And then I started out working in a male facility and I was like, oh, I felt at home, right? It's like, I mean, it's bad to say, but like it was a male facility. And then, our central office said, hey, Connie, we want you to come and cover the women's prison. I was like, what? Like, it was the most, I'm a woman, I should feel comfortable with this. I was like, no, I've never worked with this population before. Women have so many more needs, healthcare, like it was just all so much. And at first I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, am I going to quit my job? Right? Like, but no, it really was like, I got to a point where I was like, all right, Connie, it's a women's facility. This is a new population for you to learn about. Yes, it's probably going to be hard because you've never dealt with pregnant women in prison. You've never dealt with methadone maintenance. You've never dealt with having to order bras and hygienic products. And there was so much. And I was like, okay, do some research, right? Like, because I feel like, yes, there's a challenge ahead of you, but you could also prepare yourself for that challenge, right? Like, okay, let me figure out, how do you manage female inmates? Like, what does that look like? Let me see if I could find administrators who worked with the female population, and maybe they could give me some insight. And then I even went so far as, are there any former female inmates in my network, right? Like, you know, you got a cousin or auntie, somebody that's been locked up, that you could kind of just get a feel for what that environment is going to be like. So, you know, for this person who's thinking about like going forward and taking on this new role, it's like, okay, talk to others who are in the role and find out from them what their experience is in the role. How much time does it take? You know, what is your learning curve? You may not know exactly what you need to know now, but the more you talk to other people, the more you're going to learn. Okay, so this is what I could prepare for, right? And like, I feel like that's coming up with the plan to say, okay, you know what? This may be a little challenging. Here are the top 20 things that other supervisors told me, right? And I think even watching Tier Talk, we talk about manager stuff all the time. We talk about frontline managers. Here's things you need to do or need to learn or be prepared for. Like, those are the ways that you get yourself prepared. I mean, even reaching out to you, that's major. Like, wow, I'm about to take on this role possibly. He's got some insights he could share with me, right? So like, I feel like this person is already in a good space and they just don't realize it.
Right. And you know what, Connie, just going back real quick with the Tier Talk channel, it took a lot of initiative to start a channel like this, believe it or not. I was really motivated by passion, and thank God I have a little skill when it comes to communicating. And then when you get the support of the community for who you are, not where they want the channel to be, but with who you are, and they just connect to the message, it motivates you to continue doing the message. I don't think anybody that has been a very active member in our community has ever told us to steer away from what we're doing or change this or change that. I mean, yeah, there's some that say, hey, can the videos be a little shorter? That's fine. I mean, I understand that. I mean, sometimes the videos are a little long, but again, we have to exhaust the perspective because we don't want to like leave somebody hanging with just something in the air that we didn't complete. But in the end, that reassurance from the community was never an effort to change what we brought. It was to keep it moving. So again, for the same thing for this gentleman here, and we're still growing every day. You know, we don't come in saying we have the answers. We discuss it out, and then we put whatever we could best step forward. You know, maybe sometimes we get a paper that's an A+. I'm sure we've handed out some Ds. You know, I'm not going to say S, but I also learned something too, guys, and it comes from the book I was reading, Mindset, was that even if we do fail, the failure should actually be a not yet. You know, they were talking about a school in Chicago when the kids didn't have a passing grade, the teacher put not yet instead of failing them. And then what they did was it's not yet over the power of yet over the tyranny of now. Like people take failure as it's now, it's permanent, it's fixed, you can't do nothing about it. But there's something about that not yet that says, you know what, it's okay to fail because today wasn't my day, but I'll continue moving forward. Well, as I said, I've done some hit or miss videos here too, you know, but at the end, you keep trucking, you keep going forward, you learn, and you do what's best. And I learned something recently that I just want to, if you have a message and doesn't resonate with the audience, sometimes it's not you, it's the message. Be honest with you, it's not you, it's the message. I've been blessed to be able to have a platform that has bringing almost 16,000 people to the table that have connected with the message and then eventually has become part of the family and connecting with us. But it did start with the message. And then it started with the people respecting the person delivering the message. So again, everything's a risk. But if you look at it as, if I fail, it's now, I'm out, I'm done forever, then you're never going to take any risk. You're never going to move forward. You're never going to move forward. And at the end, you might as well just stay where you're at. But if you look at, this is a chance, and I'm going to keep on doing it and keep on doing it because in the effort to grow, I'm just growing every day, then that mitigates the risk. And then you keep moving and going forward. And one day you'll look back and you're like, man, I'm administration. Man, thank God I took that first step. Thank God I was willing to learn, but more importantly, thank God I was willing to fail. Because if I wasn't willing to fail, I probably would never be in this position. You learn more from failures than you do successes. Hey, Connie, anything you'd like to say in closing?
I would like to say that it matters that we take a moment to reflect on ourselves and our growth, because that insight helps you to see how far you've come and the direction you're going in. And I say that because the other day you made a comment. I don't think you probably paid it any mind. He's like, what did I say? I say a lot of stuff. So the other day you said, I was that person before. And I was like, that's major, right? Like to be able to say, I see something in someone and I was that person, not I'm better than them, not that, oh, they're wrong in their approach or in their thought process, but I was that person. And through the years, I've grown and I've, evolved and I see things differently. And I feel like that's where we need to be as individuals. Like, I mean, I get it. Some people don't want to take risks and that's just who they are, right? And so they will be in that fixed mindset. But someone who is growing, who is willing to take the risk, who's willing to learn, who's willing to fail, who's willing to keep trying and to keep struggling through those obstacles. Like, I feel like those are the people who get to turn back and say, I was that person before, right? And like, I think that is major growth. I mean, I look at myself and I say that all the time, like the person who sent me the email asking for me to talk about my story because they're trying to figure out what they need to do in the next 2 weeks before they start. I appreciate her. And, we're going to talk at some point, given our time zone changes. But like, I think those are the ways that we grow as individuals, that we can admit that we were in a place that we needed to grow through and grow from. And now we're in a better place, but we're still looking at how we can grow and develop. You're reading 27 books. Is that what it is? Right? That's growth. Like, how else do you grow other than exposing yourself to new information and synthesizing that information and challenging your beliefs?
I love that. And Connie, I'm reading 27 books on types of leadership because we've been actually getting a lot of requests to be like a keynote for leadership. So I guess we've been doing a lot of videos over the course of time. A lot of those videos have been used for supervisor training, not just, the inmate manipulation stuff and frontline stuff, but a lot of the videos we're using are being embraced by people that are moving up and applying what we're doing, just like this. Again, the end of the day is keep that growth mindset, learn from your mistakes, find value in your mistakes. There's a book out there in the market about a lot of inventions that came out because somebody made a mistake and it wasn't supposed to be that. And the reason why they were able to make something so productive, I think Coca-Cola was made by a mistake. I think penicillin was made by a mistake. But the reason why they became successful is because they were able to evaluate their experience and then go ahead and learn from it and keep moving forward. They didn't sulk in it. So again, for the person that is kind of feeling the pressure, I think it's really support. And I think they're embracing who you are. So there's no need to change. And if you make mistakes, that's the key to learning. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. So I thought it was a great dialogue, as always. Let's see if I get my speech back. I don't know, a little sidetracked, but As always, the show is Tier Talk. If you haven't, please like, subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. Bell's going to notify you every time I post a video, and stay safe.